The game is set 2 months after the events of Resident Evil. In the Midwestern American mountain community of Raccoon City, nearly all of its citizens have been transformed into zombies by an outbreak of the Tyrant virus, a new type of bioorganic weapon secretly developed by the pharmaceutical company Umbrella. On the evening of Tuesday, September 29, 1998, Leon Scott Kennedy arrives in the city to begin his first day as a police officer there, when he suddenly sees a corpse in the middle of the road. As he examines the body, Leon is suddenly approached by zombies. Leon shoots the zombies to no avail as he backs up into an alleyway, when the back door to Emmy's diner suddenly bursts open. Meanwhile, college student Claire Redfield also arrives in the city, looking for her missing brother Chris. She enters the empty diner upon arrival, finding a zombie eating a corpse. As zombies surround the diner, she runs out the back door, seeing Leon shooting zombies in an alleyway. Leon shoots the zombie behind Claire, and they run off to try and find safety. They steal a police car and head towards Raccoon Police Station, seeking protection from the mutated population. They exchange pleasantries when a zombie emerges from the back seat, causing Leon to crash the car. Depending on how you play, Leon will crash the car head-on, Claire A/Leon B, or spin the car around and crash, Leon A/Claire B. The zombie flies out the windshield, but Leon and Claire are forced to abandon the car just before a zombie trucker crashes his semi into it, forcing Leon and Claire to find the RPD separately. Player proceeds through Gun Shop Kendo and briefly meets Robert Kendo, before finding the RPD's front door. Player B finds the RPD rooftop just in time to witness a pilot crash his chopper into it. Once at the RPD, they discover that most of the Raccoon Police Department have already been killed. The player soon meets a gravely injured Marvin Branagh, who confesses what happened in the Arkley Mountains 2 months prior, and informs that Chris has left to investigate the Umbrella headquarters. Meanwhile, Player B encounters a tyrant nicknamed Mr. X, but manages to defeat him. Leon and Claire soon reunite in the lobby, Claire A/Leon B, or Star's office, Leon A/Claire B. They exchange information, and Leon gives Claire a radio. With no remaining motivation to stay, they split up to look for other survivors and flee the city. Amid this happening, Claire sees a little girl running from a zombie. While searching for the girl, Claire hears a scream, so she finds Police Chief Brian Irons sitting in his office with the fresh corpse of Catherine Warren, Mayor Michael Warren's daughter. Meanwhile, in the RPD parking garage, Leon encounters a woman named Ada Wong, who claims to be looking for her boyfriend John Clemens, an Umbrella USA researcher who disappeared 6 months prior. Leon and Ada head to the cells and find a reporter, Ben Bertolucci, who refuses to leave his cell for his own safety but tells them how to access the sewers via the kennels. Once they get there, Leon gives Ada a boost to the other side of a locked gate. Only in Leon B, Ada finds the little girl, who flees and drops her pendant, so Ada puts it on for the time being. Regardless, Ada finds a key and throws it to Leon through the ducts, before she splits up with him, as the ducts are too high up to reach. Leon then gets a call from Claire, who found the little girl hiding in the RPD. The girl told Claire that her name is Sherry, but was fleeing from an unknown monster roaming the RPD. Claire keeps an eye on Sherry, and soon finds Iron's office empty of people. Claire looks around and finds a secret passage to an elevator, which she descends while Sherry waits in the office. Only in Claire A, she hears Iron scream in terror as he is attacked by the monster, as it forces an embryo down his throat. Claire finds Irons, who holds her at gunpoint and tells her that Sherry is the daughter of William Birkin, and that the monster is a product of the Golgotha virus. Irons also reveals that Umbrella had bribed him to hide evidence of the company's experiments in the outskirts of the city. He also concealed their development of the new G-virus, an agent capable of mutating a human into the ultimate bioweapon. Before Irons can kill Claire, he is killed by the monster. Irons is either brutally killed when the embryo bursts out of his chest, Claire A, or is dragged down a shaft and torn in half by the monster, Claire B. Claire descends the shaft to either kill the G-creature or fight the monster, respectively. Meanwhile, as Leon returns to the cells, he hears Ben yell in terror as he is attacked by the monster. It either slashes Ben apart by its claws, Leon B, or forces an embryo down Ben's throat, Leon A. Leon finds Ben alone, dying at his cell, and he tells Leon that Irons was conspiring with Umbrella, Ben then either bleeds to death or is brutally killed when the embryo bursts out of his chest. Ada then enters the room and tells Leon she's going to the chemical plant to find John. Claire then calls Leon after returning to Sherry, telling him that they're escaping via the sewers. Leon goes to the sewers to either fight the monster, Leon B, or kill the G creature, Leon A, before finding Ada again. Leon scolds Ada for running off, imploring they stick together for safety. As Claire and Sherry traverse the sewers, they see the monster, Claire A, or Mr. X, Claire B, so they flee into the sewers. However, Sherry falls down a hole into the deeper sewers and becomes separated. In Claire A, she passes out and is found by the monster, who puts another embryo inside her. Leon meets Annette before Claire does. Leon takes Annette's bullet aimed at Ada. Then Ada chases and talks to Annette, who explains the full background of William and the G-virus. Since Ada isn't wearing the pendant, as Sherry never dropped it in this timeline, Annette tries to shoot Ada after telling her too much, but Ada grabs the gun and pushes her over the rail. Claire then finds Leon laying down and bleeding where he was shot. He tells her to find Ada. Claire tells Leon that he's bleeding, but he assures her that he'll be fine, so she presses on. Claire soon finds a winded Annette climbing over a railing, covered in sewage. When Annette accuses Claire of wanting her husband's G-virus, Claire concludes that she is the wife of William, telling her that Sherry is lost and needs help. Annette laments that now Sherry and the G-virus are both in danger, before passing out, leaving Claire confused. Meanwhile, Leon awakens and looks for Ada, finding her in the lower sewers fighting off the alligator. Leon defeats it, Ada patches Leon up, and they go to the labs. Meanwhile, Claire finds another tram to use. When Sherry finds her, Claire asks her about the G-virus, but Sherry is oblivious, so they go to the labs. Claire and Sherry descend a vertical tram elevator through an abandoned factory connected to Umbrella's secret underground research facility, while Leon and Ada take a separate tram. Player A takes the tram first, thus arriving before Player B. Player A is attacked by William during his second malformation, but he is defeated and retreats. Player B is then attacked by William during his third malformation, but he is defeated once more. When William attacks Leon's tram, he punches through the tram's wall and knocks Ada out. So Leon later explores the labs to find something to treat her wounds. With Birkin beaten, Claire gives Sherry her pink vest, and Leon tends to Ada's wounds. Player A does this after carrying their friend to the lab's medical bay, while Player B has the conversation on the tram. Sherry confides in Claire that she grew up practically alone due to her parents working all the time, but now finally feels happier and less lonely with Claire as her friend. Only on Claire A. Claire tells Sherry that she'll find the cure for her, and ailing Ada begs Leon to just leave her behind so that she won't continue to slow him down. But he stands firm on his duty to protect innocent civilians such as her. Ada doesn't take advantage of Leon's kindness. Instead, she is hampered and humbled by it, and now begins to feel guilty for this, thinking she is undeserving of his help. Soon after, Player B finds that their friend is gone from the tram. Claire finds Annette in the monitor room, telling her that she asked Sherry about the G-virus but only responded with confusion. They then see Sherry on a cam, cornered by Mr. X. Annette says the sample is in a tube inside Sherry's pendant, before running off. Annette finds and holds Leon at gunpoint, telling him the truth about Ada. She tries to shoot him, but a large pipe falls on her head, knocking her out. Leon takes a G-virus sample from her. Meanwhile, Claire saves Sherry from Mr. X, telling her to throw her pendant, as that is what he's after. Claire takes it from Sherry and throws it over the railing, causing Mr. X to fall into the lava vat as he tries to catch it. As the girls escape, Leon encounters Ada on a bridge. She demands the sample at gunpoint, and a disillusioned Leon curses himself for trusting her. Ada tearfully pleads with Leon, saying that's why she told him to leave her alone for his own good. Ada almost begs Leon to give it up, desperately not wanting to shoot him, when Annette comes from behind her and shoots her in the shoulder before passing out. The shot knocks Ada off the side of the walkway, but Leon catches her hand, begging her to escape with him and work it out. But Ada says it's too late and tells him goodbye, before letting go of his hand. Leon shouts her name in grief, before throwing the sample into the chasm below. After Leon leaves, Claire and Sherry arrive, finding Annette on the floor. In her final moments, Annette apologizes to Sherry for being a bad mother, weakly begging for forgiveness. As Sherry tearfully calls out to her mother, Claire silently stands by, before urging Sherry to escape with her. Player B makes it to the railway platform first, but is cornered one final time by Mr. X, who survived the lava, and is now mutated with large claws. After a fight, Ada, who had miraculously survived, throws them an RPG. After blowing up Mr. X, Player B boards the escape train with Sherry and sets off, with the player narrowly making it onto the moving train. As they rest for a minute, the train's alarm goes off. Player B investigates the other car, finding William, now mutated into a large agglomeration of flesh and teeth. Player B shoots William in vain, and also finds the door locked, and so must climb atop the train. William breaks through to the front car, frightening Sherry, who then climbs through a small duct and into the conductor's room. Cornered by William, Player A climbs under the train through the vents, while Player B crawls to the front and tells Sherry how to stop the train. All three of them eventually escape on foot, leaving William to be blown up by the train's self-destruct system. After escaping, Claire walks off into the sunrise and continues to search for Chris, leading to the events of Resident Evil. Code Veronica, thus leaving Leon to temporarily take care of Sherry as he intends to take down Umbrella, until they are both captured by the government, leading to Resident Evil. The Dark Side Chronicles and then Resident Evil 4. Ada is implied to have survived, and to have made off with the G-Virus sample. Taxago is a national gas station chain that served the Raccoon City area. It also sold branded detergent-based motor oil and jerry cans of gasoline. On September 29, 1998, a truck driver unaware of the citywide outbreak was attacked by a zombie at a Taxago station on the outskirts of town. The Taxago logo can be seen on the pumps and on a large sign near the road when the truck starts moving. Tony's Kitchen was a restaurant in Raccoon City. It was located on Flower Street in downtown Raccoon City, north of the Raccoon Police Station. The kitchen can be found in the A scenarios in Resident Evil 2, along with another known business, the Arucas Tailor. The restaurant, however, is inaccessible, as a car appears to have blocked the entrance. Kendo Gun Shop, stylized as Gun Shop Kendo, was a gun store located in downtown Raccoon City that was owned and operated by the Kendo brothers, tucked away in one of Flower Street's alleyways against the Raccoon Police Station. Gun Shop Kendo was run by brothers Robert and Joseph Kendo. Though both brothers were fully trained gunsmiths, Robert generally managed the store while Joseph created and modified their custom-made firearms. Although they mostly sold guns to civilian clients, the brothers were eventually commissioned by Robert's friend Barry Burton to supply custom firearms for the members of the Special Tactics and Rescue Service. In September 1998, the store's inventory was emptied out to civilians during the outbreak, leaving very little behind for remaining survivors to pick through. Reports differ as to how events transpired. In some accounts, Claire Redfield, a college student looking for her brother or rookie officer Leon S. Kennedy, were able to shop after their car crash. After a misunderstanding amidst the confusing situation, Kendo decided to help and locked the door. But after that, zombies broke into the store, smashing the front window, grabbing Kendo in the process. The Raccoon Police Station was the headquarters of the Raccoon Police Department, a municipal police force in and around Raccoon City. This building was located on Ennerdale Street in downtown Raccoon City. The Raccoon Police Department, RPD, bought the building, which originally belonged to the Raccoon Art Museum, in the 1980s and turned it into the city's police station. When the T-virus contaminated the drinking water in September 1998, tens of thousands transformed into zombies within hours, and the police were called into duty, with many rallying at the station to defend it. In the early hours, the police station took in many civilians as refugees, including Sherry Birkin. On September 25th, having gone insane, Chief Irons ordered for the police station's weapons locker to be emptied and weapons and ammunition scattered throughout. Due to these orders, police took casualties in the fighting against zombie intruders due to ammunition shortages. On September 26th, dozens of officers, including SWAT, were sent out of the station altogether to engage the zombies head-on, and were massacred as a result. Those left inside endured further attacks on the station on the 27th, and faced lickers, mutations of the zombies they failed to kill. On September 28th, the officers were attacked in their operations conference room and took serious casualties, including David Ford, who may have been their senior. The survivors began drawing up plans to escape through the sewers, and Lieutenant Marvin Branagh helped Rita Phillips escape through a secret tunnel in a plan to call over a rescue van. When Harry did arrive, however, the station had been attacked again and Branagh was too injured to join them. Later that day, former stars, Officers Jill Valentine and Brad Vickers attempted to find shelter in the station, but were attacked by the Nemesis T-Type, a BOW sent by Umbrella Europe to kill them. By September 29th, the only personnel left were Chief Irons, Lieutenant Branagh, and Elliot Edward. Sherry Birkin and Ben Bertolucci were left as the sole remaining civilians, the former due to her small size allowing her to use ducks, and the latter due to being sealed in a prison cell. That night, RPD rookie Leon S. Kennedy, college student Claire Redfield, and spy Ada Wong entered the police station for their own reasons, and witnessed the deaths of the last officers. On September 30th, USS Agent Hunk entered the police station to rendezvous with a helicopter at the front gate. On October 1st, the precinct was decimated along with the rest of the city due to the sterilization operation carried by the United States Air Force on the orders of the U.S. President. Originally an art museum, the building was refurbished into the department's HQ in the late 80s, mostly because of its central location, downtown Raccoon City, and an ample parking garage. During the renovation, some museum features were left intact, the goddess statue being the most noticeable. Among those features was a system of air ducts, commonly used in museums to maintain humidity inside the building to preserve works of art. The building itself was highly decorated with different art pieces. Some of these pieces were remnants left behind from the museum. In addition, a number of expensive art pieces were further added after the renovation, purchased by Chief Irons. The building was 3 stories tall and includes a clock tower and basement. The main entrance of the precinct faced Ennerdale Street, one of the city's primary thoroughfares. The back entrance facing Flower Street served as the entrance to the building's underground parking. There were a number of similarities between the precinct and Umbrella Spencer Mansion, most notably the use of intricate keys and locks as well as several puzzles, effectively transforming the building into a large maze. The operations conference room during the Raccoon City incident, the remaining RPD officers used the operations room to take shelter and come up with an effective plan to prevent zombies from entering the building as well as discussing how to escape the precinct if it was overrun. It was later abandoned when the officers could no longer keep the zombies out of the northwest corridor. The west office connects to the evidence room and allows passage to the west wing corridor. During the outbreak, the surviving officers, including Elliot Edward, David Ford, and Marvin Branagh, sought shelter in this office after placing the injured officers from the engagement in the northwest corridor in the evidence room. On September the 28th, the injured officers succumbed to the virus and overran the west room, killing 4 officers. Ford was among those who did not survive, according to Elliot Edwards' operations report, though it is unknown whether he committed suicide or was killed in the attack. This subsequently left only 2 officers alive. Elliot Edward escaped to the rooftop but was eventually overcome by zombies, while Marvin Branagh was fatally injured and took shelter in the small room in the west office before finally succumbing to the virus. The Stars office was an area of Raccoon City's police station. It was the main headquarters of the Stars tactical team. This was where its members gathered, finished paperwork, sent radio transmissions, and stored items and weapons. A rectangular room, the office contained 4 desks, 3 of which are split desks capable of seating 2 people apiece for a total of 5 desks. The desks of Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and Rebecca Chambers can be identified by their personal items. Albert Weskier's desk was on the left side from the entrance. There's a gun/storage locker and a radio set to the right side of the entrance. It also contained a fax machine, a bookcase, the Stars flag, and printing paper. In the remakes, Weskier instead had his own personal office, which was immediately to the left when entering the room. The armory, which had an array of powerful firearms, was located in the leftmost section of the office and could only be accessed by members of Stars. And dispatch radio equipment can be found at the rightmost section of the office. The Umbrella Underground Laboratory was a large, subterranean laboratory complex located in the Arkley Mountains not far from Raccoon City, and directly beneath the Umbrella chemical plant. It was operated by Umbrella USA, and its entire existence was managed by its chief of research, Dr. William Birkin. This sprawling facility, built primarily for the research and development of the G-virus, was well linked to other facilities in and around Raccoon City. Nest was built within limestone deposits within the Arkley Mountains and directly below a chemical plant. To serve a perfect facade, entrance to Nest from directly above could either be performed through an elevator shaft hidden in one particular train shelter in the marshalling yard, or by taking the nearby train elevator into Nest. Beneath this train shelter were at least 2 cable car stations, one of which linked to Raccoon City, going through an underground limestone cavern. Alongside this, Nest had a station for Umbrella's private subway, allowing personnel to reach the facility in secret from various places in the city. From Nest itself, individuals could travel to Incineration Disposal Plant P12A, the Arkley Laboratory and a nearby treatment plant, and through cable car the Umbrella Executive Training Center located 8 miles north of Raccoon City, and the sewers in the very center of Raccoon City. The Nest was constructed in 1991 following the discovery of the G-virus within a human test subject. Either due to the small size or aging nature of the Arkley Laboratory, Umbrella CEO Dr. Oswell E. Spencer felt an entirely new facility was necessary for this research. Dr. William Birkin, the Arkley Laboratory's chief researcher, was transferred to the laboratory personally to carry out the research along with his wife, Annette. In mid-1998, the Birkins began contaminating Umbrella facilities across the city as part of a plan to hand over themselves and the G-virus to the U.S. military as a critical element in their bioweapons program. Aware of an attempt by the Umbrella Security Service to steal it, they released their own Hunter R test subjects from containment and allowed the T-virus to spread across the facility in order to distract or destroy the unit. At least 2 USS soldiers were able to reach the P-12A lab in late September and steal G-virus samples. The subsequent battle with a G-mutated William led to the T-virus spreading into Raccoon City's drinking water. Following the sabotage and raid, there was no one left to control the facility and the researchers were forced to deal with the escaped Hunter RS on their own with no security team. By rigging the low-temperature laboratory to affect the entirety of level B4F, Dr. Frost was able to force the Hunters to undergo brumation, freezing them in their tracks. Nonetheless, at least 10 researchers were killed in the attack. Elsewhere, a researcher, realizing the effect the outbreak would have on Umbrella's corporate stability, stole a sample G-virus in the hopes of getting rich on the black market. He would later surface as a senior researcher for the WP Corporation under the name of Dr. Frederick Downing. Dr. Monica had a similar idea and stole a dormant G-embryo, killing another researcher to further her chances of success and leaving her as the last surviving non-zombified employee in the facility. She was soon discovered by Yoko Suzuki, who had led a group of civilians into the underground platform. The survivors successfully killed off the Hunters and fled the laboratory via a train, while Monica was rendered unconscious by some monster, parasitized, and subsequently killed by her escaped G-embryo. Although the facility was primarily constructed for G-virus research, it was not the only focus of the lab, which also investigated chemicals relating to G-virus research as well as wholly unrelated BOW research. While Dr. William Birkin engineered the G-virus, his wife Dr. Annette Birkin led the Devil Project to create a medicine that could restrict the aggressive spread in organisms. Dr. Martin Walcott research team based in the No. 1 R&D room developed a drug that could put G organisms in a comatose state for transportation. Unrelated to G research, another team, possibly led by Dr. William Birkin, engineered the Hunter R as an improved bioweapon prototype derived from the Hunter Alpha, which Dr. William Birkin had developed in the 1980s. In the final weeks before the facility's destruction, a team developed Plant 43, based on information retrieved from the Spencer Mansion. An anti-BOW weapon was developed by a team in the No. 2 R&D room called. In the laboratory proper, levels B1F, B3F were primarily designed to supply the laboratory with energy. Level B1F contained the main power room as well as providing staff with access to a self-destruct mechanism that would set off strategically placed bombs that would destroy the lab if compromised. Level B2F consisted of the actual machinery for the power room and was normally steam-filled. Level B3F consisted solely of a smelting room and an observation platform above a large, open vat of molten metal. Levels B4F, B7F housed the complex's actual research labs. Unlike the above floors, which were linked by elevators, these levels had to be reached through ladders. Level B4F was the first of the main laboratory levels, hence the level for the railway elevator. A security office was located against the platform, with another door leading to the main shaft, the center of the complex where power to the research labs could be turned on and off. This shaft led to two wings, the east area and west area. The west area led to researcher dormitories and a duct for B5F access. The east area meanwhile consisted of rooms for various research projects. An operating room, low-temperature lab, and a culturing room. Level B5F was the site of the P12A laboratory where G-virus research was conducted, with a security office placed close by to keep Dr. Birkin's research safe. The east side of this floor included a storage room with elevator access to level B8F, and was likely where supplies were delivered. B6F did not have any laboratories, instead being more simple in its design. Its main use was as a second level for the security room, linked to the upper room by a ladder. On the east side was a break room to allow researchers to socialize. Several vending machines and a television were located on this wing to better serve its purpose. B7F, the final level for the research labs, consisted of chemical storage rooms. The very bottom level of the facility was B8F. This level was the site of a second platform with its own train. This area was used for the covert shipment of materials in and out of Raccoon City. Raccoon City was a town under the thumb of Umbrella. The virus washed over the city like a tidal wave and in its wake left a living hell filled with ungodly creatures. Raccoon City was an industrial city located in the Midwestern United States. It was best known as the home of the pharmaceutical conglomerate Umbrella Corporation, which by 1998 employed approximately 30% of the city's population. In September 1998, Raccoon City became the epicenter of a viral outbreak later known as the Raccoon City incident, caused by the T-virus. The catastrophe culminated on October 1, 1998, when the U.S. government carried out the sterilization strategy, a missile strike that completely destroyed the city in an effort to contain the infection. At present, the remains of Raccoon City are sealed off from the public, with access restricted exclusively to U.S. government personnel. Urbanization took off rapidly in the late 1960s, either as a result of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals moving into the area or by coincidence. During this decade, the city saw the construction of a tram line linking it to Stoneville and the Arkley Mountains, while the Kite Brothers Railway constructed a subway system, opened in 1969. Also in this year was the establishment of the Raccoon Police Department, RPD, as a municipal police force and construction of the Raccoon Police Station. Though the Arkley County Sheriff's Department, ASD, had a continued presence in the area. With the economic boom aided by Umbrella's continued investment in the city into the 1980s, the company town had expanded far beyond its 1950s limits and was fast becoming a tourist spot, taking in out-of-state hikers, and the subway had expanded to encompass 8 stations. A river dock was also established along the circular river following Umbrella's arrival. The city suffered from the 1990 to 1991 recession. However, though this was in part reversed by Mayor Michael Warren's Bright Raccoon 21 plan, a city revival project which was funded heavily by Umbrella. The Raccoon General Hospital was constructed in 1992 as part of this project, while another hospital in the mountains was closed the next year due to a scandal linked to the company. Gaining control of the town, Umbrella financed the creation of an independent law enforcement agency known as the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, STARS. In 1996, this organization consisted of military veterans and scientific experts, and was meant to carry out criminal investigations that the RPD was not capable of handling, such as counterterrorism or riot control. The return of the 4 stars. Veterans and their pilot Brad Vickers caused a serious problem to the company's control of Raccoon City. They were able to slow down any official police investigation due to their control over the mayor and chief of police Brian Irons, but made plans to assassinate the stars. Officers, if it was found they were conducting an unofficial investigation. STARS itself was shut down and replaced with Raccoon SWAT. Redfield, Chambers, and Burton left the city for their own reasons, while Valentine continued her investigation within the city. Over the course of September, the T-virus made its way into Raccoon City, largely due to Dr. William Birkin allowing nearby umbrella facilities to be contaminated to prevent them from stopping him handing over the experimental Golgotha virus to the U.S. military. By September 16, the Raccoon General Hospital had wards locked down to slow the spread of the T-virus, which was understood by its local name as the cannibal disease. On the night of Tuesday, September 22, Dr. Birkin was attacked by an umbrella security service team sent to retrieve the sample. This led to a series of events that culminated in the T-virus contaminating into Victory Lake via infected rats and entering the water supply. The city was put under martial law by the U.S. Department of Defense on September 24 as tens of thousands of residents mutated into zombies. The United States Army, the Army National Guard, and the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, UBCS, were sent to supplement the efforts of the ASD, the RPD, and the Raccoon City Fire Department, RFD, in the evacuation of civilians. Despite the efforts, the infection continued without major opposition. The U.S. Army and Army National Guard actually had the soldiers stationed in the outskirts of the city to prevent anyone discovering the government's deal with Birkin from coming out. By the night of Tuesday, September 29, the city was overwhelmed and the Raccoon police station was itself abandoned. Following an emergency meeting in Congress over what to do to control the outbreak, the president made the highly controversial decision to fire an experimental thermobaric missile at the city. The operation began after daybreak on Friday, October 1, destroying the entire city. The official death toll was over 100,000. The president resigned after this event, faced with public outrage at his decision to destroy the city. The further the outbreak progressed, the more the quarantine zone widened. Some people left those areas to steal and take what was necessary, leading to multiple confrontations against the authorities. What was left of Raccoon City and the surrounding area was locked down to contain any surviving biohazardous material. A government research outpost was constructed at the center of the ruined city, in which surviving material could be cataloged for research. The destruction of Raccoon City had global ramifications. No longer committed to their illegal investiture in bioweapons from Umbrella, the U.S. government turned on the corporation and banned Umbrella USA from conducting business before liquidating it. Umbrella was also faced with payment of compensation to victims' families. The corporation contested these lawsuits in what became as the Raccoon trials. As the U.S. government played a role in the outbreak and made a policy of denying the existence of BOW. As a matter of national security, the actual evidence against Umbrella was contestable, and the trials continued into 2003, only concluded when Dr. Albert Weskier provided a sample of Umbrella's own research data, proving their guilt. The loss of the trial bankrupted the corporation while its CEO Oswell E. Spencer went into hiding to escape an arrest warrant from both the United States and Russian Federation. The actual nature of this data was classified, and the public at large was not aware of BOW. Until the Terragrigia panic in 2004, alligators have been known to be infected with the T-virus, and a number of individual cases exist. A number of alligators were infected during the Raccoon City destruction incident. An alligator lived in the sewers underneath Raccoon City. This very large mutant grew from a baby which, like the urban legends, was flushed down the toilets, fulfilling the sewer gator myth. This alligator became a threat to a band of survivors moving through the sewers in search of a way to the nest. It was killed when it bit into a fuel canister, and a well-targeted shot caused it to explode inside its mouth. Some abandoned and dissected alligator corpses can be found in the incineration disposal plant P12A's treatment room. Another alligator residing in the lakeside area of the Raccoon Zoo was one of the main attractions until the virus outbreak occurred. The survivors who crossed the small lake had to deal with the monster while swimming across. Yet 2 other alligators lived in the sewers of Sheena Island. Considering that the island was near Europe, these animals were probably transported as pets like the one in Raccoon sewers. Giant spider is a blanket term used for any spider that has been infected due to the T-virus in an unplanned manner, an irregular mutant. They are different from the web spinner in the sense that the web spinner BOW were experimented from the start. While the wild spiders simply mutated on contact, the giant spiders, like other T-virus-infected spiders, produce little spiders, which live on their mother's back. If the back of giant spider wasn't blasted by powerful weapons, little spiders won't appear. Unlike the web spinner, these irregular mutant spiders had kept the ability to create a web for trapping prey, which logically made them much more akin to the black tiger. The giant spiders frequented in the sewers of Raccoon City, where they were infected during the Raccoon City destruction incident when the T-virus was leaked into the sewers. In a similar manner, giant spiders populated the sewers of Sheena Island 2 months later during its own viral outbreak, when T-virus-laced chemicals mixed into the sewage. Baby spiders are the offspring of any spider infected with the T-virus. They would live on the back of their mothers and attack nearby foes if she was killed. Like other arthropods, little spider blood contains hemocyanin, creating a green hue, so it is possible to see a green spot on the floor after killing them by single shot or by stepping on them. Zombies are humans afflicted with the cannibal disease, an illness caused by the T-virus, a bioweapon originally developed by Dr. James Marcus, one of the founding members of the Umbrella Corporation. Despite having minimal organ function and a deceased-like appearance, these creatures are not reanimated corpses but living humans who have been infected and transformed by the virus mutations. Male zombie is a civilian in a yellow-white Y-shirt and jeans. He appears on the crashed bus. He has bloodstains on both his shirt sleeves, the side of his face, his back and abdomen. He is just one of the many raccoon civilians that have turned. Brad Zombie is the zombified Star's pilot. Brad Vickers, he is seen outside the police station, once dead, that leaves Jill as the only Stars member left alive in Raccoon City. Male Zombie RPD is a zombified Raccoon Police Department officer. He is recognized for his hat. After a long struggle, all RPD officers in the police station end up turning into zombies. Modified Zombie is a person unlucky enough to be kidnapped by Umbrella for testing of virus strains. He is a BOW specimen studied at Nest. It is totally skinless with muscles fully exposed, and was likely used for testing. It is unclear if these are failures, but most likely are. They are stronger than a normal zombie. Infected crows would appear in Raccoon City after it had become completely infected by the T-virus. These crows were noticeably more aggressive than the ones found at the Arkley laboratory, attacking anything they saw. A single crow managed to bring down Ed, a trained UBCS mercenary, able to shatter windows easily. Many were killed by flocks of them indoor and outdoors. G is the name given to any mutant created through the infection processes of the Golgotha virus, whether as the patient zero or their descendants. For convenience, only these descendant will be referred to as G here. These G come in 2 varieties. The first is the immediate offspring of the patient zero, which mature from embryos into tumor-scarred humanoid forms if rejected by a human parasitic host. The second is their own descendants, which remain in embryonic form and cannot develop further. The only known occurrence of G was during the Raccoon City destruction incident that took place in September 1998. Monica, a researcher on the G-virus R&D team, was parasitized by a G embryo that crawled down her throat when she was attacked by a giant moth in the nest. Not genetically compatible, it rejected Monica and tore out of her chest. The creature matured into its adult form within minutes, but was soon killed by a group of survivors on the surface. Dr. William Birkin, who infected himself with the virus after being shot, hunted for human hosts to carry his embryos. The only confirmed parasitism was that of his own daughter, Sherry, who was a genetic match. Though he also interacted with Brian Irons and Ben Bertolucci, among presumably others, it is not known if he parasitized them or simply killed them. During the events of the Raccoon City outbreak, the G-virus would leak into the city's sewer system. This resulted in G-infested cesspools forming in various areas and tunnels in the sewers. These G-infected areas developed tumorous growths that spawned multiple imperfect G-forms and their embryos, which then ran rampant through the tunnels. During the events of the Raccoon City outbreak, the G-virus would leak into the city's sewer system. This resulted in G-infested cesspools forming in various areas and tunnels in the sewers. These G-infected areas developed tumorous growths that spawned multiple imperfect G-forms and their embryos, which then ran rampant through the tunnels. Cockroaches, abbreviated as roaches, are a common arthropod in North America, residing primarily in an urban environment. It makes sense, therefore, that they are encountered in urban-based viral outbreaks such as those in Raccoon City and on Sheena Island. But they don't seem to have been affected in Rockford Island incident. Cockroaches show little to no change in their body or intelligence when infected with the T-virus. Common cockroaches infected with the T-virus covered the sewers of Raccoon City and Sheena Island. Although generally harmless, when larger roaches get together, they can pose a threat to humans and were responsible for the near-total extermination of Raccoon City's rat population. The rat being its main form of sustenance, these creatures have been known to use cannibalism as a way of accessing nutrients. Moth larvae, these little creatures pose little threat. They are slow-moving and able to be killed with ease. The giant moth was an experimental bio-organic weapon developed by Umbrella. They should not be confused with the moth, another infected insect, which is smaller in size. Giant moth research was conducted in the Nest underground facility. During the Raccoon City destruction incident, at least one moth escaped its chamber and made the B5F computer room its nest, using the facility's air conditioning system to hunt in the main shaft and bring prey back. Another giant moth was present on Sheena Island during its own biohazardous outbreak. Like its fellow, it also experienced the same problem regarding its exaggerated proportions. The research into moth-based BOW was a failure in this experiment. Mutating to a larger size normally did not keep them in proportion. Making their wings strong enough only to hover over the ground, however, they did also develop the ability to spit poison on prey as a means of compensating. The Hunter R code MA125R is a subspecies of the Hunter BOW, developed by William Birkin's research team at the Raccoon City Underground Laboratory. While it closely resembles the original Hunter Alpha model in appearance, it features several distinct characteristics, most notably smaller claws and pronounced spikes along its back. The Hunter project was conceived by William Birkin in 1981 as a solution to the T-virus's high rejection rate and its failure to achieve a 100% mortality rate in hosts. The first successful prototype was aptly named Hunter Alpha Alpha, and its variants continued to be used as late as 2014 with the latest subspecies being the Hunter Delta. Lickers are an irregular mutant resulting from a rare secondary metamorphosis of zombies infected with an unnamed variant of the Epsilon strain. The transformation typically affects zombies that have consumed large quantities of biomass to sustain their metabolism. Lickers are noted for their exposed and expanded brains, lack of skin and eyes, extreme sensitivity to sound, substantive and newly reformed muscle structure and reformed bone structure, large talons and eponymous barbed tongues, the latter of which are capable of piercing flesh and decapitating prey. They should not be confused with crimson heads, which are the result of the V-Act effect from a separate T-virus strain. The earliest known lickers appeared in the latter half of 1998 and were mutated from humans infected with an unnamed T-virus strain. Lickers were initially believed to be a wild form of tyrant when first documented by Umbrella researchers and were kept as test subjects in Birkin's lab beneath Umbrella's chemical plant. These subjects would eventually escape after the lab was raided by an Umbrella security service squad led by Hunk. When the variant strain at Nest leaked out of the facility on the night of September 23rd, it contaminated Raccoon City's drinking supply and infected tens of thousands of people who, therefore, were capable of mutating into lickers. Within days, an apparent colony of lickers began to emerge at the start of the outbreak at the Apple Inn, a downtown hotel that had caught fire. These lickers lacked the expanded brains, substantive muscle growth, and signature claws of later specimens, suggesting they may have been in an earlier stage of their transmutation. A second colony emerged several days later within the Raccoon police station, which had been besieged by zombies on the night of the 27th. This colony would kill several of the remaining survivors within the building, and would first earn the moniker Licker, named by David Ford and the surviving personnel for their peculiarly long tongues. The colony would grow in numbers, possibly due to the ample food in the area, and several would be encountered by Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield on the night of September 29th. A third colony of lickers was also encountered by Ark Thompson whilst traversing Sheena Island in November 1998. They may have been citizens infected with the same strain or escaped test subjects. Likewise, several lickers of the premature variety were encountered by Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine during the raid on the Umbrella Caucasus facility in February 2003 as a result of Albert Weskier instigating a leak of the T-virus in the facility, leading to the infection of nearly all facility staff. The evolved licker was a variation of licker developed in Umbrella's underground laboratory situated beneath Umbrella's chemical plant outside of Raccoon City. The exact factors that led to their creation are unknown. Lickers are former human zombies that consumed a large quantity of flesh, allowing them to gain the necessary energy to fuel accelerated cellular growth. Notable differences from standard lickers include their grayish-green skin instead of the pale red skinless bodies of their predecessors. thinner but stronger tongue and long singular scythe-like claws on each forelimb instead of talons. The modified lickers are somewhat more resilient to gunfire than their standard variant, though their brain tissue is still exposed and remains a serious weakness. The monster plant grew in Nest's duct. It was weakened by V-jolt by a group of survivors to gain access to the nearby ladders. Plant 43, unofficially named as Ivy, was an experimental bioweapon series produced by Umbrella from data received at the end of the Mansion incident. The progenitor of the Plant 43 series was Plant 42, an irregular mutant that was created during the Mansion incident in mid-1998. The bioweapon series was quickly designed and improved upon the predecessor with the ability to walk. By September 1998, they were undergoing testing in both Raccoon City and at Sheena Island. During the Raccoon City destruction incident, a number of Plant 43s escaped containment, eventually leaving Nest and into the Raccoon police station. Some of their corpses can be found inside the treatment room of the incineration disposal plant P12A. Despite the flaws in its design, enough research was continued to spawn the Ivy plus YX variant by 2002, with the original surviving long enough to be disposed of at the Caucasus Laboratory in 2003. Male Zombie is an Umbrella USA employee wearing a lab coat with a white nameplate over the left breast. He and others are encountered in Nest and are all that remains of the Nest staff. T-00 was a tyrant sent into Raccoon City during the 1998 Raccoon City destruction incident. T-00 was one of 6 within the T-103 series that were airlifted into the city, and was given instructions to recover a G-virus sample from the pendant of Sherry Birkin and kill any surviving officers and civilians found in the Raccoon police station, where it began a hunt of Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield who were trying to escort Sherry to safety. Umbrella's control over the outbreak in Raccoon City ended with the collapse of the UBCS as an organized force on the night of September 26, and, under Article 12 of Umbrella's Internal Emergency Procedures, Colonel Sergei Vladimir was given command of all remaining personnel. On the night of September 29, T-00 and 5 other T-103 tyrants were flown over the city in an SH-60B Seahawk helicopter to take part in new missions. While 5 were sent to incineration disposal plant P-12A to fight the Delta Force operators present there, T-00 was given 2 unique missions. Firstly, it was to eliminate any survivors in the Raccoon police station, which Umbrella could not verify had already fallen. Second, it was to locate a sample of the Golgotha virus and return it to a designated pickup point. Either dropping into the police station or landing close by, T-00 was successful in entering the building. By this point, most police officers had already mutated into zombies, and T-00 encountered only a handful of survivors. Accounts differ as to the exact events in the station, and it is possible that it was responsible for the death of journalist Ben Bertolucci. Other accounts suggest T-00 was struck with a van, or even torn open by Dr. William Birkin, who had transformed himself into a disfigured monster with the G-virus. What is known, however, is that T-00 abandoned the police station and began a search of Nest for Golgotha. There, T-00 was injured, either by fire or by molten metal. These extensive injuries triggered the deactivation of its power limiter, allowing it to mutate into its super tyrant form. T-00 fought RPD officer Leon S. Kennedy, but was ultimately killed when he fired a rocket at it from an FIM-92 Stinger. G-Stage 1 in this form, he still partly resembles his former self. The main characteristic is its overly large arm. And taller and far more bulky, this was due to the G-virus overcompensating for a specific injury and mutating in an uncontrolled fashion. In this case, it was the bullet-riddled arm when Birkin was shot by the Umbrella forces coming to steal his research. Additionally, the G-virus has one consistent mutation pattern in all the hosts it infects, and that is the presence of a large eye, presumably its own method of vision at this stage. G-Stage 2 in the second form, you briefly see a mutation in progress. All the damage you caused it in the first battle finally catches up with it, and the G-virus inside its body has no choice but to mutate. In this case, its arm grows even bigger as new claws are formed that rip through its flesh. Its once human head dissolves into its chest as a completely new head grows from between its shoulders. The signature eye is still there on the shoulder of the enormous arm. G-Stage 3 once again, the battle damage it sustained forces the G-virus to undergo more mutation. At this stage its human side has almost disappeared, leaving the strange, unbalanced limbs behind as the creature becomes almost parallel with two very large arms with claws and two smaller ones underneath. With increased speed and power. G stage for a major shift in the creature's form occurs here when its arms turn into legs as the creature gets down onto its stomach, and a mesh of razor-sharp spikes emerge upwards from its chest to form a circular mouth. It's at this point it becomes incredibly quick and difficult to target, able to move fast and use its spikes to impale enemies. It is also far tougher and able to jump high distances. G stage 5. It's at this point the mutations start being detrimental to its body, most likely due to how much damage it has sustained, and the virus can only repair so much. It goes into a sort of tank mode, very slow moving but still deadly. It has tentacles it can use to grab enemies and pull them into the spikes around its mouth or sling or crush them. Kennedy is a known survivor of the 1998 Raccoon City destruction incident, when he was a rookie police officer. Early life. Kennedy is known to have suffered a traumatic childhood due to his family's ties to crime. This ultimately led to him being orphaned after his entire family was killed. He survived thanks to the aid of a single police officer, an act that inspired him to become a police officer himself, aiming to protect as many people as possible. Upon graduating from the police academy at age 21, Kennedy requested assignment to the Raccoon Police Department. His reason was a strong interest in the widely publicized but unsolved bizarre murder cases occurring in and around the Arklay Mountains. Kennedy had no travel plans or apartment in Raccoon City, and in his hasty departure, he broke up with his girlfriend. Stopping at a motel for the night, he passed out from heavy drinking and woke up on the afternoon of September 29th, a Tuesday. Hungover and now late, Kennedy continued driving into the city to report to the station. While driving through Arklay County, he passed a highway blockade erected by the United States Army and Army National Guard on the night of September 29th, which had since fallen due to the chaos in the city. Claire Redfield. Since her survival in the Raccoon City incident in 1998, Claire would become involved or end up in the midst of several biohazard outbreaks around the world, prompting her, as well as Chris, to devote her career to combating the threat of bioorganic weapons. Early life. Claire grew up with her older brother Chris after their parents died. With this event, the two developed a very close bond. When Chris joined the U.S. Air Force, she was introduced to his new friend, Barry Burton, and he became a close family friend. After high school, Claire attended university, where she developed her interest in motorcycle customization. Owning 2 motorcycles herself, Claire also specialized in lockpicking, becoming an expert with skill. After Chris moved to Raccoon City with Burton to serve in Special Tactics and Rescue Service (STARS), Claire would occasionally visit her brother to learn hand-to-hand combat and firearms training. He also gave Claire a golden lighter and his STARS knife. Ada Wong is the pseudonym of an enigmatic, unnamed Chinese spy. She has gained notoriety in the corporate world for being able to handle serious situations and the most difficult requests without guilt. Wong has acted secretly in the background of many biohazard incidents and collected information which became useful to several organizations, while at the same time operating to undermine them. However, Wong follows only her own true purpose, and has often betrayed the organizations and customers she is affiliated with to achieve it. Early life. Wong's personal life is a complete mystery. Her ethnicity and nationality are left unconfirmed, and when and where she was born are also unknown, not to mention her birth date. Wong was approached by Albert Weskier while she was an agent of Umbrella's rival company. The company initially questioned Wong's loyalty due to her duplicitous nature and refusal to reveal her true identity, but with Weskier's endorsement had come to the conclusion that she would be an ideal fit for the job. Around the same time, Wong made an influential connection in the form of Derek C. Simmons, a member of the secret fraternity The Family, who abused his position as a high-ranking government official to cement his political agenda. Wong accepted several freelance missions on his behalf. However, their working relationship quickly became complicated as Simmons developed obsessive tendencies towards her. Around 1997, Wong was assigned the mission of infiltrating the Arklay Laboratory, an Umbrella USA facility deeply connected to the development of illegal bioweapons. With fake credentials, she was able to gain employment and soon developed a romantic relationship with Dr. John Clemens, the facility's chief researcher, as a means of obtaining classified information that would aid the rival company. Clemens was committed to their relationship, going as far as recording his username and password at the lab as John and Ada, and a letter written at the time of his death suggests Wong was present during the May 1998 T-virus outbreak. If so, she was able to escape undetected as the facility's USS guards had orders to execute those attempting to do so. Marvin Branagh was a police officer who served with the Raccoon Police Department. Branagh may have been a senior in the department's Bureau of Operations, as he was established within the station's West Office and was in Leon S. Kennedy's chain of command. Early life. Almost nothing is known about Branagh's life other than that he was held in high regard by his colleagues within the Raccoon Police Department for being an exemplary police officer who looked out for his friends up until the very end. Branagh was also friendly with the Special Tactics and Rescue Service and was notably close to at least two other officers, Rita Phillips and Kevin Ryman. Robert Bob Kendo was a Japanese-American owner of the Kendo gun shop in Raccoon City. He was a close friend of Special Tactics and Rescue Service member Barry Burton, and helped to create custom guns for Barry and the other STARS members. Early life. Both Robert and his brother Joseph were involved in the gun market, Robert being the salesman, and Joseph being a gunsmith. Together they developed the Beretta 92F, otherwise known as the Samurai Edge, custom handguns requested by the Raccoon Police Department during the formation of the STARS unit. The order for the Samurai Edge weapons may have been personally ordered from Officer Barry Burton, a close friend of Robert's with whom he used to fish in the nearby town of Stoneville. Mere days before the outbreak, Kendo had spent a night at the nearby bar with the old man who owned the neighboring Aruka's clothing store. Following the spread of the T-virus into the water supply and the mass appearance of zombies on September 25, 1998, Robert handed out the majority of his gun stock to civilians free of charge as protection. He felt partially guilty in doing so, as the Raging Bull Magnum that Barry had ordered was among those given to the populace. He nonetheless remained hopeful of his chances of survival. Expecting Burton to come looking for him, he left a note detailing his planned escape to Stoneville. As the days went by, the number of civilians that came by his store in search of weapons dwindled almost as fast as his supply, and Kendo was left alone in his shop. Brian Irons was a Raccoon City police officer and chief of police of the Raccoon Police Department until 1998. Despite his position, Irons was deeply involved in corporate corruption like other city officials, and took bribes from Umbrella USA to keep the company out of investigations. During the 1998 Raccoon City destruction incident, Irons suffered a mental breakdown and began killing fellow officers and refugees, and was killed violently either by Dr. William Birkin or A.G. Parasite. Irons also had a violent history with women and is suspected of having been a serial killer, though due to his position in the RPD and the destruction of the city, these murders were never formally investigated. Before his police career, Irons is known to have gone through a university education. He was put under psychiatric examination after two incidents in which he was accused of violent aggression and sexual assault towards female students. Due to his excellent academic performance, however, these incidents were not criminally investigated. Irons made a career in the Raccoon Police Department, and by early 1996 reached the rank of Chief of Police. Later contributions for the RPD on his behalf and gain would include the purchase of a recently retired art museum for its strategic location and parking space, a budget move allowing for funding of equipment for the force and collections of artistic works, which Irons claimed would also help out with combating crime. This position put him in a very close relationship with Umbrella USA, the American subsidiary of the Umbrella Corporation, a company which was not only a major employer in the city, but was also performing top-secret military bioweapons research involving illegal human testing in violation of the 1972 Bioweapons Convention. Furthermore, this relationship with Umbrella led to him forming acquaintances and friendships with individual Umbrella employees. For instance, every month starting from April 1996, Chief Irons received between $1,500 and $15,000 from Umbrella virologist Dr. Annette Birkin, which he used to fund his art habit. He would distribute pieces of his collection throughout the police station. Similarly, Annette's husband and fellow Umbrella virologist, Dr. William Birkin, trusted Irons with stationing some of his officers in the Raccoon City sewers to provide security in the areas leading to Umbrella's underground nest research facility. On the 6th and 16th of every month, he visited Umbrella's top-secret facilities to hold meetings with Umbrella's Raccoon City facility heads and, if needed, was expected to use the police force to prevent Umbrella's illegal research from being exposed to the public. Irons was also good friends with umbrella biologist Dr. Nathaniel Bard and United States Senator Greg Tester, often engaging with the two and acting as a facilitator of deals which they conducted in secret. Dr. William Birkin was a virologist who worked for Umbrella Pharmaceuticals in the 1970s to 1990s. One of the leading scientists behind the T-virus and discoverer of the Golgotha virus, of which he was head of the research project. He turned against the Umbrella Corporation after failing to achieve a promotion to its executive. The company's attempts to prevent an unauthorized deal with the U.S. military served as a catalyst for the events of the Raccoon City destruction incident. He was the husband of Annette Birkin and father of Sherry Birkin. Early years. Birkin was a child prodigy who earned his doctorate as a teenager. In 1977, at the age of 15, he was employed by Umbrella Pharmaceuticals and offered to take the executive training program at a laboratory in Arkley County under the oversight of Dr. James Marcus. Birkin and Dr. Albert Weskier developed a friendly rivalry at the school while being conditioned to Umbrella's ethical ideals. Their education was concluded on July 29, 1978, when a decision was made to close the laboratory school. Birkin and Weskier were offered senior roles at the nearby Arkley laboratory and transferred there 2 days later. Dr. Annette Birkin was a virologist employed by Umbrella USA and one of the administrators at their Nest facility in the outskirts of Raccoon City. She was the wife of fellow administrator Dr. William Birkin and mother of Sherry Birkin. Little is known of Annette's early life other than her training as a virologist, which earned her a career at Umbrella USA's Arkley laboratory, under the head of research, Dr. William Birkin. The two married in the mid-1980s, and by 1986 Annette had given birth to their daughter, Sherry. While they remained married, Annette felt they had prioritized their research careers over it. As a child, Sherry was placed in protective custody after her parents' deaths during the Raccoon City destruction incident. During the outbreak, Sherry was infected with the G-virus but was treated with the vaccine soon after. Because of her exposure to the virus, Sherry gained lifelong regenerative abilities. Early life. Sherry was born around the year 1986 to Drs. William and Annette Birkin, two virologists who took part in T-virus research at Umbrella's isolated Arkley laboratory. Sherry's relationship with her parents was strained due to their busy work schedules and, despite their early 1990s transfer to the Raccoon City underground laboratory in the industrial district, she was frequently neglected. Her parents were senior researchers of the G-virus project, a eugenics project that oversaw the creation of Golgotha, a progenitor strain they believed could be used to improve the human race. Little else is known of this stage of Sherry's life, although she was enrolled as a student at East Raccoon Elementary. Her mother also entrusted her with a locket, disguised as her 11th birthday present, that was related to her and William's research. As a potential security risk, Sherry's safety was important to her parents, who wanted her to stay away from strangers who could be after Golgotha. Hunk is the code name of an Umbrella security service operator, who was the leader of the ill-fated Alpha team in the employment of Umbrella. Cold, silent, and devoid of emotion, he is ruthless and willing to complete a mission by any means necessary. He and the UBCS sergeant, Nikolai Zinoviev, were considered to be rivals. Almost nothing is known about Hunk's history, even his real name. The earliest piece of information relating to him was that he received training at the Military Training Center on Rockford Island in 1996. For 2 years, Hunk carried out a large number of successful operations for Umbrella. He was notorious for being the sole survivor of many of these missions, earning the nickname Grim Reaper.